Hello, everybody, and welcome to Man Evolved. Um, Today, I'll just be talking about. This shouldn't be too long of a video, but I'll be talking about the reasons why I won't talk about men and males generally in this context. Um, because a lot of times MGTOW is seen as shaming of women, and it's somewhat that, but it's mostly the cultural nonsense that prevails in our society. So the question is why wouldn't a MGTOW talk about the faults or flaws of men? Uh, well, you ever heard the expression, you don't need to beat a dead horse? Okay? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Because there are plenty of reminders of why men suck in society, or what they claim to be patriarchy and all that type of language. So why would I talk about it? I mean, there are reminders everywhere of the faults of men, the terrible things they do, and so why would I bring that up? You don't beat a dead horse, right? Because it doesn't do anything. Because we all know what the faults of men are, but there is nothing about the faults of women. We we uh, we resist acknowledging when women act like assholes. Okay, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to admit that women have problems on a societal level, on an overriding level. So that's what my mission is, because no one is exposing women when they screw up, right? Women are always treated as victims, even though feminists teach us that women have choice and live their life how they want to. They have moral agency. But in the next breath, they'll say patriarchy. So they have choices, but nothing's their fault. Excuse me. So this idea that, again, I'm not saying men are victims per se. I'm saying that there's a lot that goes against men that nobody talks about, and the arrogance of feminism keeps that from being discussed. Um, for example, approximately half of domestic violence perpetrators are women, which which is funny because, well, it's not funny. It's kind of sad that no one talks about that. No one acknowledges it as a. I mean, people are aware of it, but it's not like this overreaching societal ill that has to be accounted for. Somehow that would make it. They would make it the man's fault somehow. So, but that's one of the things that I'd like to draw attention to is spousal abuse that women perpetrate, which happens. I mean, you don't have to like it, but it's not for you to disagree with or not. It's a truth. It's reality. Women hit and abuse their husbands um, all the time, and yet, I mean, remember the Oprah show and all these stupid shows where women are constantly portrayed as victims, and or you hear the expression "motherhood is the most difficult job." Give me a break. Of course it's not. Uh, but women are always victims of something. Okay, they have moral agency, but moral agency means you have choices and you can make decisions that affect your life. That you're not just acted upon. But even feminists acknowledge that. They seem to acknowledge that women are victim of patriarchy, yet they're also acknowledge how empowered they are. So, which is it? Which is it? So, the main point is that if what was going on against men was going on against women, if you just flip the script, um, people would just be losing their minds, quite frankly. And it's just, we have this, I think it's probably somewhat biological, this paternalistic instinct towards protecting women, but which is difficult to counteract. But let me say this once and for all: ladies, you are not victims. I mean, unless you actually are a victim, which means your husband abuses you physically, he beats you, then you are. But as a gender and all this stuff, literally everything is in your favor. Everything. Laws, regulations, which specifically help you. And don't worry, if you're a single mom, the government will take care of you. So, this idea that, quote, you don't need a man, that's bogus. Because if you're a single mom and you take government aid of some kind, you need men, lots of men, because men pay most of the taxes in the country. So therefore, they're giving you most of your money to help you with your I'm not saying you shouldn't take an advantage of that, but you can't ignore that millions of men support you. So don't give me this, you don't need men crap. You need men. Society needs men so bad. Who fixes your computer? Who fixes your toilet? Who builds things? Yes, sometimes you see women, but mostly society is run by men. Not for the benefit of men, but run by men. Things work because men exist, okay? So I know you radical feminists don't want to hear that, but it's absolutely true. This world will be a fucking shithole, worse than it is if women did everything. Because I do think that men and women are different. I know, shocking. I know it's not politically correct, but it's true. Men and women have different aptitudes. Not that women can't do certain things, but why is it that so many women are in childcare? Because women like kids. Not that men dislike kids, it's that their biology tells them to help out children. That's why that's so common. So I think biology has a lot to do with the reasons why, getting back to what I was saying, reasons why we tend to resist holding women accountable. Even feminists do that, because nothing's ever a woman's fault. And the reason that it's becoming a problem for a lot of MRAs and just men in general is not only are we tired of hearing it, how wonderful you all are, but out of one side of your mouth you're saying you're independent, and the other side of the mouth you're saying it's a man's fault, and that you don't have choices. So it's getting it's getting old. It's the same old script. I mean, it's the same stuff that Democrats use against Republicans and around election time, which is happening right now. You're anti-woman, you're anti-minority, you hate everybody, etc. And liberal women just cling on to this like fucking zebra mussels on a friggin' boat. Like a freaking algae or something. They just eat it up because reasons. I don't know. And they this war on women stuff, and it's nonsense. Even they're calling Carly Fiorina, who's a conservative woman who's running for president, even they say she's, quote, a danger to women's health or something like that. I mean, and this is from women to a woman. Figure that out, you'll let me know. But women are constantly portrayed as victims politically, socially, culturally, and it is quite the opposite. Women have every fucking advantage in this country. They get everything they want, and they're treated like goddesses. And I don't mean if a guy buys you a drink. I mean the entitlement that women feel is just incredible. In every way, you can see this. I mean, not that women don't have problems. Of course they do. But have you heard about this new rule where on college campuses, if you're a woman, you accuse a man of rape, he's not allowed to defend himself, basically? I mean, talk about a fucking violation of the Constitution. Jesus H. Christ. You can't even present evidence or something like that says you can't defend yourself. We assume women are telling the truth, and you can't defend yourself. I'm sorry, but that's not how the Constitution and the law works. Innocence is assumed until proven. And don't give me that nonsensical difference between innocence and not guilty. Okay, we're not talking. You know what I mean? Okay, there's a presumption of innocence. Uh, that law totally disallows, because they assume that women. I mean, could you imagine more privilege than that? That you are assumed to be telling the truth in a criminal case. They don't have to. You don't have to. The guy doesn't have to. He can't defend himself. I mean, thanks Barack fucking Obama, fucking douchebag. Uh, so this war on women stuff is really getting old. They have every advantage. You ever see on a sitcom when Everybody Loves Raymond, or the show from the 90s, Home Improvement? Why is it that domineering, bitchy wives are portrayed as strong, and the stupid but well-meaning husbands are morons? Have you seen this? It's everywhere. It is everywhere. This portrayal of men as stupid, backwards apes. Aren't you tired of seeing that? I mean, and when a guy gets hit in the groin, it's comedy. You hit a woman in the fucking cunt, and guess what happens? Lawsuit. You're abusive. How dare you? I mean, I'm sick of this matriarchal bullshit. Guys, do not believe it. I'm telling you, it's not true. And don't put up with women that think that's funny. Okay? I would never promote abuse of any kind, but the fact that that's allowed to be called funny, or those women on The View laughing about a guy's dick getting cut off, the fuck's wrong with you? Seriously. You liberal fucking women, you rail against female castration in Africa, where they just totally ruin the woman down there. I don't know what they do. They cut off the clitoris or something, and they sew it. I mean, it's just horrible. How is that any different than a man getting his dick cut off? And you fucking women think that's fucking hilarious. You're a bunch of sociopaths, you know what I mean? That's fucking sick. And the fact that these enlightened liberal women, these progressives, whatever the fuck that means, can sit there and laugh about it on national television is just... it's fucking horrible. I'm sick of this. Enough is enough. Stop laughing at that shit. It's not fucking funny. You know, Bill Burr said, there's a great comedian, he said, what if we cut off your tit and threw it in the dryer? I mean, you fucking women would be losing your minds over this. So guys, do not put up with women who think that's funny, because it's not. I know it's a sitcom, but it speaks to greater societal trends. That's why I care. Because it speaks to the attitudes of people out there that think that's funny. So, don't put up with it. Ladies, you're not victims. I mean, you're victims of your own bad choices, but nobody's railing against women's health. I mean, give me a break. No one believes that, so stop. You're victims of your own bad choices, if you want to think about it that way, but you're not victims of society. Not since, like, the fucking 40s, okay? So get over it.